Sam Darley here, and yesterday I started my NFL training camp previews and predictions with the AFC South, and today I'm going to do the AFC East. Obviously, the New England Patriots are essentially the class of that division. They've won it every year since Belichick and Brady took over in New England as the quarterback and coach. And obviously last year the New England Patriots won the Super Bowl. They are the defending champions. So what does 2015 have in store for us for the AFC East? I'll start with the New England Patriots. First and foremost, I believe this whole deflate scandal, I want it to be done. I want it to be over and done with. But you know, if Tom Brady had just cooperated with the league, handed his cell phone over, and just said, "Hey, I made a mistake. I'll live up to it. What's the punishment? I'll deal with it. Fine. We'll take it. We'll move on." And instead, I know the Wells report doesn't really implicate him as guilty, but again, he was uncooperative. And you know, the Atlanta Falcons, who got busted for pumping crowd noise, they took their punishment. They're like, "Okay, we made a mistake. We apologize. Okay, we accept that punishment. It's over. It's done. There's no more, we're talking about pumping crowd noise now." We're still talking about the Deflategate because the Patriots haven't fully, in my opinion, haven't fully cooperated with the league. And that's really the whole basis of the suspension for Tom Brady. Not Deflategate. I mean, come on, you're going to suspend a guy 4 games for deflated footballs? Footballs that were deflated not 10 PSI below regulation, but 2 PSI below regulation. I know rules are rules, and you cheat. But you gotta cooperate with the league. If the league is investigating and they ask you to turn over your cell phone, do it! Sheesh. The Patriots lost a bunch of talent in the offseason, and again, they are the Patriots. They do end up drafting well, and they end up back on top. But I really feel like this year was a really bad offseason on the defensive side of the ball. They lost Brandon Browner and Darrelle Revis. Vince Wilfork went to Houston to essentially finish his career with the Texans, and not to mention bring a winning attitude to them. But he's also a great run stuffer. They let go of they did bring back Brandon Spikes, but then they let him go because of an incident with his car, and so defensively, I think the Patriots are really gonna suffer, especially without Tom Brady. Without Tom Brady for 4 games, that's going to be really, really, really tough for Garoppolo to mask what might be a really, really bad defense for the first 4 weeks. Then again, when Brady comes back, I do think that defense will be really, really good. Because when you have an elite quarterback like a Brady, like a Rodgers, in his prime, Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, they can mask a lot of deficiencies in your defense. Your defense can be average and you can win, because you got an elite quarterback. The best quarterback in the division when he's not suspended is Tom Brady, without a doubt. With the rest of the division, they have a 4-game head start. Because when Tom Brady comes back, the Patriots are going to get on a run and probably win the division. I don't see any team in that division challenging them. I mean, Buffalo is going to be a really tough team. Rex Ryan teams are always tough. They always play the Patriots hard. Rex Ryan got a really bad deal, in my opinion, in New York. He took that team to 2 AFC Championship games his first couple of years, and then after that, things just went downhill. And it's not entirely his fault. You got to have a GM that can, help you put talent around your quarterback, help build off of your success, because really what got them to those 2 AFC Championship games was their stout run defense and ability to run the football. And Mark Sanchez, they were essentially what the Texans are going to be this year, or at least the last year and this year. Or you have the defense kept them in every game, they ran the ball well, and they got good, consistent. They got about average. Pretty good quarterback play, let's just say that, with Mark Sanchez, and Mark Sanchez fell apart, and he's gone, he's in Philly. The Buffalo Bills, I hope Rex Ryan learns from his mistakes in New York. Bills are very interesting. I know Rex Ryan's defenses are always tough. They're always physical. They're always giving other teams absolute fits. I really think Buffalo could be a wild card team if they sort their quarterback situation out. They're just looking for a game manager. I'm interested to see if Percy Harvin can get things right. You know, he was let go in Seattle because he was just perceived as a locker room cancer. Things worked out okay for him in New York, and following Rex Ryan to Buffalo. Can he be a consistent threat next to Sammy Watkins? Again, it just comes down to I fully believe wide receiver play is really determined by your quarterback's play. If your quarterback plays well, your wide receivers are going to have a good season. Buffalo's got a great defense. LaShawn McCoy is a heck of a playmaker, is a heck of a weapon in the backfield. I think they're going to be if they had a legit starting quarterback, AJ Manuel could be that guy. But the problem with Manuel is he's just not accurate. I mean, I could go back to the game against the Texans last year. The Texans gave up what would have been a game-winning touchdown. The wide receiver was wide open, and AJ Manuel overthrew him by like 20 yards. Manuel is just not consistently accurate, and you know, if he could be more accurate, he could be a franchise quarterback. He's certainly got the athleticism to be a really good quarterback. You gotta be accurate, and I hope he's worked on that. Matt Castle, you know, he got the Chiefs into the playoffs, and then after that, it was just downhill. From there, you got the Patriots almost into the playoffs when Tom Brady tore his ACL. He got hurt last year in Minnesota. Teddy Bridgewater ended up taking the job and running off with it. So they gotta find their quarterback, obviously. Rex Ryan teams are tough. They're feisty. They're not a team I would sleep on. The Miami Dolphins, on the other hand, I just feel like they're going to be another 8-8. Joe Philbin just is not cut out to be the head coach. I've been to Miami. It's a very beautiful city. It's, you know, I read an article last year about NFL players not playing hard in Florida because it's such a comfortable environment. They get so comfortable. It's like having a vacation. Well, it isn't a vacation, although it is a vacation, not for the players. It's a vacation for me. Miami, they're a teaser team. You think they could be a playoff team, but then they end up going something like 8-8. They've got 8-8, I believe, the last 3 years. I know they went 8-8 last year, the last 2 years. Tannehill is a really good quarterback. But they even threatened to, Philbin even threatened to strip him of his job. I think Philbin should be on the hot seat this year. He has to get them to the playoffs. But I don't see them making it. They spent so much money on one person, and I don't think that makes them any better than what they were last year. And that's Adama Sue. I know they added Kenny Stills. I don't know if Kenny Stills can be that number one receiver. He did very well for New Orleans, but then again, that's Drew Brees throwing you the ball, and Brees is a more vertical passer than Tannehill. Tannehill seems to be more of a 5-yard dink and dunk type quarterback. I did like the draft pick of Devontae Parker. That kid. I really wanted to see him go to Houston. But he didn't fall that far. I like the upside with him. I think he'll be a really good wide receiver. That running back situation again. I look at this division. To me, there's not really a roster that stands out as a wow. That team could be a contender. What makes the Patriots contenders is Belichick and Brady. Without them, I don't think the Patriots are that good. I think Garoppolo is going to kill it, though. I think he's going to do very well in his first 4 games. I liked him a lot for a late first round pick, very early second round pick, and he fell over to the New England Patriots in the 2013 draft. Or 2014 draft, I'm sorry. He has a quick release, he has a big arm, he's accurate, he's pretty athletic in the pocket. I can't understand why quarterback needed teams didn't take a flyer on him in last year's draft. Not the draft that happened, but in the 2014 draft to be specific. But he's a heck of a quarterback. I think Patriot fans are going to love him. I don't think they'll miss a beat as long as Belichick's the coach. I do think they let go of Ryan Mallett because, let's face it, Garoppolo is a cheaper option. I don't think Ryan Mallett was let go because, he's not talented or he's not good. I think he was let go just simply because they wanted a backup quarterback, but they wanted a backup quarterback for cheap, and Belichick probably believed that Mallett would want a ton of money, and he got that kind of offer from the team I think will finish last in the division again, the New York Jets. They added Cromartie and Revis, but they're pretty much past their prime. I mean, Revis had a really nice year last year. But I just thought there were times when he looked old. He's not young. Both Cromartie and Revis are not what they used to be. Well, I mean, Revis has had a couple of nice years. They had a really nice year for Tampa, and then he had a really nice year for New England. Cromartie was pretty good in Arizona, but again, you're paying a lot of money for guys that could be on their last legs. That probably are on their last legs. I don't like the quarterback situation in New York. I like the head coach, Todd Bowles. I think he'd be a nice coach for them. They drafted Bryce Petty, and everybody was ranting and raving, at least on my Facebook and Twitter, that this kid's going to be a franchise quarterback. I understand him losing out in a quarterback competition to Ryan Fitzpatrick, because Fitzpatrick is a well-respected veteran around the league. And in the locker room, he was well-respected in Houston. He's well-liked amongst his teammates, so obviously he's going to have the support. But Geno Smith beat out Bryce Petty, and I think that stood out to me as, is Bryce really that good of a quarterback? If he couldn't beat out Fitzpatrick, I'd understand, because he's a veteran quarterback and he's familiar with Chan Gailey's offense. But he lost a quarterback in the quarterback competition to Geno Smith. Or maybe simply that Todd Bowles said, hey, I want to give Geno a chance to really correct his stuff. And Geno, many people say, Geno's a terrible quarterback. I've watched Geno Smith play. When he's good, he's really good. Excuse me. When he's good, he can be a really good quarterback. He can be a starter in the NFL. But he's a tease player. Like, he's got the talent. I just don't know if he has the drive. And I think, if you would ask me, would I rather have Bryce Petty or a Geno Smith? I'd rather take a shot with Petty, because Petty's a rookie. He's unproven. He could have that drive to be that leader, to be that franchise quarterback that you're looking for. Geno's just not consistent enough for me. He's sporadic. I mean, his last game of the season last year was off the charts. And again, that's the typical Geno Smith. He has one good game and 3 bad ones. But then again, maybe under Todd Bowles he'll turn it around. But with that training camp's beginning soon, I mean, to me, I'm a little shocked that Bryce Petty lost to Geno Smith. I just am. I thought, maybe Bryce Petty could be a franchise quarterback, but if you lose to Geno Smith, he's really not that consistent. You're probably one that just shows you that you're not NFL ready, and it shows people that, like I just said, he's not NFL ready. Either that or the Jets just simply weren't sold on him. They took him because they thought, he could be a good quarterback, but then they saw him practice and be like, oh, no, he's not ready. this is how I see the division going. Like I said, it's a 4-game head start for the Bills, the Jets, and the Dolphins. Because once Tom Brady comes back, the Patriots are going to run off with the division and hide with it. I think the Patriots will do well with the Garoppolo. I think they'll go 3-1. And what's funny is I thought about this. I thought, well, what if Garoppolo, if this becomes another Drew Bledsoe type thing where Brady's gone for 4 games, Garoppolo goes nuts, and Garoppolo does so well that Belichick might get in his head that maybe he has to trade Tom Brady. I know Patriot fans not gonna like hearing that, but you know, Tom got his start from an injury to Bledsoe, and he ran off with the job. And what if Garoppolo takes this job and runs with it for the first 4 games and just wows Belichick? And because you know the media is gonna start asking him if that happens, if Garoppolo will be the starter, and of course Belichick will be like, no, it's gonna be Brady. You know, but I think honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if it became another Bledsoe, and I would not be surprised. I would really not be surprised if the Houston Texans became the ideal trade target for Tom Brady. It's a similar system. It's a coach he's familiar with. And Bill O'Brien. I doubt it'll happen. I think Garoppolo will play well. I just don't think he'll be well enough to just wow Belichick. I think they'll go 3-1. In their first 4 games. But overall, I think the Patriots are a 13-win team once Brady gets back. And then after that, it's a toss-up for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The Dolphins I think we'll have another 8-8 season. They're just an average team. Dominican Sue's not going to make them significantly better. They already have a good enough defense. They had a good defense last year. I just think their offense needs some work. I think Philbin gets fired because he clearly not cut out for that job. And then the Bills, they have no answer at quarterback. And essentially they had a nice winning season last year. They could make it interesting. They're a wild card contender. They could be a wild card contender. I don't see anybody in this division upending the Patriots. So the Jets, I have them at 5-11, 6-10, somewhere around that range. Again, it's really the Patriots division to lose. Oh, well, we'll see what happens. This has been Sam Darley. Thanks for watching.